Another edition of Beat the Closing Number presented by thelines.com. My name is Eli Hershkovich. You can follow The Lines on Twitter at TheLinesUS. You can follow Nuwwarah on Twitter at Nuwwarah. Breaking down the Tuesday MLB slate for May 30th and a couple games to get to. Mo, first up, Rangers and Tigers. And then we have a bigger matchup in the American League. Twins at Astros. It is Joe Ryan Day, and we'll get to why that's such an important nugget in just a little bit. But before we get started, remember to give the video a thumbs up and ring that bell to get notifications whenever The Lines releases a new sports betting video on any market, including Mo's day-to-day MLB bets. And if you want to get more involved in the MLB slate, you could do so over at play.thelines.com, giving away an Amazon gift card daily, courtesy of thelines.com. But Mo is on a big-time baseball betting run, up over 16 units. I believe over 3 units when it comes to video plays, because he makes picks on the weekends, and obviously those don't get logged. We don't do weekend videos, at least as of now. Might have some more betting content when it comes to baseball come the postseason on the weekend. But for the regular season, sticking to weekdays. So, Mo, what are the best ways for our viewers and listeners to find your baseball bets? Whether it comes to, again, weekday, weeknight bets, or on the weekend, like you had a big-time weekend over the last couple of days, few days, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, real strong weekend. I just wanted to talk over some of this stuff because I didn't want people to think we were making this stuff, making these records up out of thin air when you say I'm up 16 units and the video says we're up 3. You know, I just wanted people to know we did start the videos a little bit into the season, and we don't do day games, which maybe I'm running well in day games. I don't know. But, yeah, everything gets posted well before, even like if I'm adding something late, many hours before the games start in our Discord channel. So definitely hop in that Discord. Some good discussion in there too.
Yeah, Mo posting his picks, like I mentioned, and like he mentioned, in our free Discord channel. And you could subscribe for his picks. So get notifications on your phones in real time. You don't have to get them in YouTube. But obviously, the breakdowns of these plays are fantastic. Mo is one of the best MLB handicappers around. So be sure to pay attention to his analysis here as we dive into the first game. 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, first pitch. Rangers sitting at 34-19, second best record in the AL. At Detroit, Tigers 25-17, second best record when it comes to the AL Central, and still plus 1,200 to win it, just 2 games back of the Twins. And we'll touch on Minnesota here after this game. And we've seen a little bit of steam towards Detroit, Mo, sitting pretty much at plus 110 across the board, total of 9, and the under is juiced in that betting market. Martin Perez and his 3.83 ERA, 4.58 FIP, taking on 2018 first-round pick of the Tigers, Alex Faedo, 4.15 ERA, 4.99 FIP. I don't think those peripherals do his overall body of work justice, especially when you look at some of his other pitching metrics like chase rate, which ranks in the 97th percentile across all pitchers in baseball. So what do you make of this matchup? Second game between the two teams as Texas took the opener on Memorial Day.
Yeah, this game, I really wanted to talk about it even if I couldn't have a play on it, actually, because I'm really interested in maybe what Alex Faedo's been doing. Like you said, former first rounder, guy that had some talent but didn't realize it really for quite some time, and then kind of seemed like he was just on his way to being a roughly replacement level arm. I think he dropped his arm slot is what happened here. I was trying to figure out what was going on with Faedo because he's been crushing it, like you said. 3.06 xERA, 3.37 SIERA. These are tremendous numbers. Obviously, it's a small sample. But when I see a near elite chase rate, like you said, it piques my interest. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. I noticed his pitches were moving a little different, and his velocity was up a half tick, roughly. So I looked into I did some digging and found out he had definitely lowered his arm slot for this season by quite a bit. So that is something that has helped some pitchers in the past. It's helped them throw harder. It's helped them get better movement on their pitches. Specifically, I think it helps side breaking pitches quite a bit. So when you have a guy like Faedo, who his primary pitches are his secondaries are fastball or slider changeup. So you want those to break sideways quite a bit, right? So when he lowers his arm slot, I think it's helping those pitches move more, and it might be helping the approach angle on his fastball as well. That's something that has helped pitchers get more whiffs on their fastball. And sure enough, the fastball was terrible for him before, but it's been really good so far this year. So my numbers actually like the Rangers as a wager in this game. Detroit is pretty bad at hitting lefties, and specifically they don't match up very well against Martin Perez as well. He's really heavy on sinkers and changeups. Detroit 29th versus both of those types of pitches. So I think Martin, even though he's struggling a little bit, if you look at his peripherals, I think he's going to be fine. All his chase rate, hard hit percent, all that type of stuff is pretty steady. So I think he's going to still be pretty good. So even though I'm supposed to bet the Rangers according to what my numbers are telling me, but I actually think Faedo might be legitimately quite a bit better. So it makes me interested in the under here. I grabbed some under 8.5 at plus. I think under 9 is minus 120 pretty much. Either one of those is fine. I'm not the best at totals for sure, but I think this one could be good.
Yeah, and we touched on Detroit collectively, week and a half ago with one of our guests, FanDuel's Jim Sonis. I don't think they're out when it comes to having a shot to win the Central, especially if Faedo continues this sort of pace, not in terms of pitching pace, but his peripherals keep up at this rate. And you think of Eduardo Rodriguez, I think he struggled in the latter innings of his last start against the White Sox, but still a 1 or a 2. And this offense has come alive, specifically Javi Baez, after his early season struggles. So I think the Tigers may be live, despite the Twins getting a little bit healthier.
The Tigers have been making me some units this year, so I think we've been backing the Tigers more than fading them.
And speaking of the Twins, like I mentioned, they're in first place in the AL Central, 28-26, and their lineup got a little bit of a boost on Monday, and maybe I'll touch on that. They're in Houston, took the first game of this series from the Astros in extra innings, and we've seen a little bit of steam on the Astros in the second game of this series over the last couple hours, down to minus 110 both ways over at PointsBet when it comes to the money line. But it is Joe Ryan Day. Cy Young bet for me going back to the beginning of the season. Got him at 100-1, down to as low as 10-1 now, as a 2.21 ERA, 2.38 FIP. So he's pitched pretty much to expectation in a good way. And he's facing Brandon Bielak, who has a 3.55 ERA and a 5.69 FIP. So numbers definitely favor Ryan. And does this, what do you make of the market here, especially with the steam coming in on Houston, at least in the last hour or so?
This morning, it seemed like there was some movement on the Twins. So if somebody's coming back on Houston, I haven't seen it yet, but it doesn't really surprise me since people have been loving to bet Houston. But I'm just completely on the other side of this and think the Twins should be much bigger favorites. I am stunned the line is this low. I think Joe Ryan and the Twins are still generally undervalued, I guess. I hit them yesterday. They made me really sweat it with a little bit of a pen blow up there. In a game that they dominated the Astros. 19 base runners to 10 in that one. It shouldn't have been close. When I'm looking at Joe Ryan's projections, I'm still seeing high 3s ERA projections, and I just don't think that's right. I think that he's much closer to 3 itself, like low 3s ERA pitchers for me. Elite first strike rate, elite whiffs, elite chases. We've talked about it all. He's doing it all this year. And I know projection systems take some time to adjust to changes in true talent level. And I think this is one of those situations where they're not adjusting fast enough. So I'm very in on Ryan. I'm going to keep being in until the projections start believing in him. And facing a near replacement level pitcher, I think Bielak's a little better than that, but not a ton better. And like you said, that Twins offense, little bit of could be getting a big boost here. Royce Lewis added to the lineup. Up to a 106 WRC plus now versus right-handed pitchers overall. So even though they're still struggling against lefties, an Astros team that's super right-handed heavy in the pen as well is a good matchup for their offense. And yeah, man, Royce Lewis, long-time elite prospect. Man, this guy has been scalding the baseball in the minors. I mean, just 149 WRC plus he put up in AAA last year. I think it was like 50 games before he tore his ACL. And then he's obviously a small sample, but 164 this year. I mean, the projections are sold on him. They are completely sold on him. Despite only 46 major league plate appearances, all the computers have him as an above average hitter. So when you're torching the minors like this and you have the prospect pedigree he has, I'm definitely more inclined to believe in it. So yeah, he could be a big boost to this Twins lineup.
And I think that pretty much says goodnight to Jose Miranda with the way Lewis can, what he could bring to this Twins offense. And Correa is starting to hit too. I know Buxton's been in and out of the lineup. I think it was more of an off day on Monday than anything else. But his bat has been inconsistent, even though he's pretty much slotted in for the DH role, at least as of now. Man, that guy just cannot stay on the field. But regardless, like you mentioned, Minnesota's offense has come along, and Lewis should continue to provide to those numbers, and Twins offense should continue to tick up in the rankings. But as you heard, a couple bets here for Mo on the Tuesday MLB card. We'll be back with a couple more, you would think, if not one. That's going to do it for this edition of Beat the Closing Number, presented by thelines.com. Remember to follow Nuwwarah on Twitter at Nuwwarah. Terrific MLB handicapper. And you could follow the Lines on Twitter as well at The Lines US. Thanks for watching and listening to another edition of Beat the Closing Number. So long, everybody.